I talk about video games all the time, but I've been doing other types of gaming for nearly all my life, namely tabletop gaming. I've already mentioned my love for Dungeons & Dragons numerous times, but another huge faction of my life was card games, and that includes one of the best, Magic the Gathering. Magic is the grandfather of collectible card games. It first came out in its alpha form in 1993. I started getting into it around 1994 or so, during its unlimited release, and I played it a lot with my friends and my brothers. Hey, do you want to hear a quick Magic joke? Banding. Like 5% of you will get that. Magic encompasses so many wonderful things in gaming. The strategy, custom-made decks, social interactions, and the excitement of opening up a booster pack to see what lucky random cards you got. And while the cards are cool, yeah, nothing can beat that delicious new card smell. I played it pretty heavily from 4th edition until around the Invasion block or so, which was a great expansion, by the way. Most of the cards I owned seemed to stop around that era. It was around this time that everybody else I knew slowly lost interest in it, meaning I was running out of people to play with. And I was too antisocial to go to any Friday night Magic event at the local card store. So I did what any good Magic player would do when they ran out of friends. I took any 2 decks that I had and played against myself. This is actually pretty common among players, as this is usually the best way to test a newly constructed deck, and isn't pathetic or sad at all. And when I didn't want to do that anymore, I turned to the next best thing. Magic the Gathering video games. Duels of the Planeswalkers came out in 2009 for Xbox Live Arcade and PC, and then eventually to PlayStation 3. It was an instant hit. They made a couple of more since then, most recently this year with Duels of the Planeswalkers 2015. That certainly is magic, as you can play against a series of computer opponents or other players online. And you know what? These games suck. Aside from the fact that the 2015 release has less features than any of the other versions, Duels of the Planeswalkers is such a constricted way of playing Magic. You're only given a set few of pre-made decks, and you can only customize it using predetermined cards, swapping them out for other predetermined cards, greatly limiting the options you have for making something truly unique. You unlock new cards by beating computers, but that's really it. No use of anti-cards against anyone, or nothing resembling the excitement of opening up a booster pack. Two-Headed Giant, a game mode in which you have a partner against another team of 2, is still the best feature. But man, eventually you keep seeing the same cards and same deck strategies over and over throughout the whole game. The 2015 version finally added in deck customization and booster packs, but there's a very small pool of cards to choose from. And all it really has is a simplistic versus mode and not Two-Headed Giant. That's it. And sometimes I want to play with all the old cards from way back when. I want to play with all the 4th edition cards. You know, all the really old stuff that I remember. Thankfully, there was a game that had this, along with being the best Magic game to date. It's a computer game simply called Magic the Gathering. And it rocks! It was released for computers only in 1997 by the fantastic Microprose, and was the last game that Sid Meier worked on before he left that company to found Firaxis Games. This game is also sometimes called Chandalar, named after the plane of existence in which it takes place. And what makes this game so cool is that it isn't just a Magic game, it's a full-fledged Magic the Gathering RPG. The story is that the plane of Chandalar's sources of mana were guarded by 5 great wizards, one for each color: white, blue, red, green, and black. The Uberfiend and planeswalker Arzakan was sealed away long ago, and has now turned those 5 wizards against the land, and are now working to free him. It's up to you to stop their spells of blight and protect the citizens of Chandalar from all manner of creatures and destructive forces. Using cards. This game also does a really good job of teaching new players how to play Magic in the first place, with some of the most incredible tutorial videos I've ever seen. And by incredible, I mean live-action actors green screened onto scenery.
Magic begins with the land, and from the land comes the power to cast spells and summon creatures. We call this magical power mana.
Seriously? This is amazing. These two adequately teach anyone how to play Magic. Well, at least the rule set back in 1997. And they get to wear sweet capes and stuff. And you know they're sweet because they're always playing with them. They take their dialogue just seriously enough to convey the atmosphere of the game really well, but also make it just cheesy enough to be laughably enjoyable.
I can cast a fast effect, such as this terror spell. Presto. one batch of dead elvish archers, and my black knight left without a scratch.
That hurt. Zap. Again.
Ouch. The number in the gray circle means that one mana of any color is necessary to cast the spell, in addition to the one red mana. Which brings us to our first...
Whiz quiz!
Yes, that's right! Test your knowledge and earn exciting prizes as well.
I could watch this all day. As I said before, this game is an RPG. You're instantly thrust into the world, and you're able to walk around, enter towns, and of course, fight random encounters. The random encounters are creatures representing the 5 wizards, and battling them means playing a game of Magic. The card game engine in this is excellent. It doesn't use a bunch of flashy effects or other visuals, making it feel much more like the card game. Granted, it does help streamline a bunch of things, such as tapping land cards for mana and managing upkeeps no problem. Hell, it even makes banding make sense. It resolves effects and combat damage quickly and clearly, making every match feel fast-paced and interesting. The sound effects they use are minimal, but they've become iconic to me. I still hear these sounds in my head when I'm playing the actual card game. And the enemy AI is really good. They always make smart plays, only attacking when they have an advantage or some kind of advantage from an instant they can play, instead of throwing creatures at you hoping for the best. They can be really tough, as a lot of enemies have themed decks with great synergy between different cards. To be fair, this is on the harder difficulty, as the super easy modes has them doing really stupid things. Like casting giant growth on my tortoise, who's not even in the combat. But now I got a big ol' buff turtle. The different enemies you play all have different decks that they play with. What's neat is that you can tell what color deck they're going to use based on the colors of their portraits. They start off pretty weak, only having a little bit of life, though you only start off with 10 life yourself. Still, even the weaker enemies still have deck themes that can be a threat, like a Merfolk deck or a Black Regeneration deck. And at the beginning of the game, your deck sucks. The harder the difficulty, the more colors that are splashed into your deck. And even your main color has some sucky cards in it or worthless artifacts. Seriously, Leviathan? So it's not easy to secure wins early on. And every match has an anti-card, which means you'll lose that card if you lose the match, but you could also win some cards if you beat them. I started the beginning of the game running from town to town trying to buy whatever cards I could and selling off the dumb ones, which is much easier said than done since enemies are constantly spawning all around you. Buying cards is hard to do, as every town only has a set amount, with each town usually specializing in a certain color or type of card. It means a lot of running around hoping to find the ones you want. But at the same time, you can talk to the local townspeople for quests. They give a few different rewards, such as free cards, jewels, or mana links. Mana links permanently increase your maximum life for every duel. You start off at 10, but do enough of these and you'll get much higher. The quests themselves usually consist of defeating a local monster menacing the town, delivering a specific card type, or the most simple, delivering a message to the town's wise man. And every single village has the same wise man. Take this message to my brother and get a mana link. Okay. Thank you for the message from my brother. Would you like to take this message to my brother? Welcome to my town. Have you met my brothers? We're centuplets. You can't waste too much time running around though. As you play the game, the 5 great wizards send their creatures to attack towns directly. And if you don't stop them, they take control of the town in a mana dome. If any one wizard does this 3 times, you lose the game. You are able to rescue the town, but at great risk. The creatures are a bit tougher and triple your ante-amount. But I am a man of the people. Bagoom! You're dead! I did it! I saved the people! Oh, you! What kind of people live here? We've got a one-eyed peg-leg dwarf thing, an ugly green goblin woman thing with some mad cleave going on, a yellow armored creature too enamored with his flail to realize what's going on in the world, a Hanar, an archer goblin woman in a bikini who's being dry-humped by a pink slug guy, and some pixies. Look at how hard they're rejoicing. Sprinkled throughout the world are dungeons that you can explore for extremely rare and valuable cards. You can get clues to find these by defeating random enemies. The dungeons are some of the coolest parts of the game. Exploring around and trying to find treasures is fun, but you can also find little bonuses. You can find dice that will do one of 2 things. Increase your life for the next fight a little bit, or randomly give you a creature or artifact from your deck at the beginning of the next match. Nothing like starting a battle with a Shivan dragon on your side. Another thing you can find inside are these little scrolls. These are 1-question quizzes that test your knowledge of Magic the Gathering cards. I love doing these. Having such a strong knowledge of the classic sets certainly helps, but I love being quizzed on this stuff. If you get it right, you get to pass on through. Get it wrong, and a monster instantly appears, and he laughs at you. This game is an RPG, and like all old RPGs, you have to grind a lot. You don't grind money or experience points, you need to grind for cards. Every enemy you defeat awards you a plethora of cards, and you can also find some randomly throughout the world. It takes a long time battling for cards, buying cards, going into dungeons for cards, or doing quests for cards, especially if you want more than one type of deck. All of the great wizards start off at 40 life, but every defeat of one of their minions lowers their life by 1 point, down to a minimum of 30, which means grinding them if you want any kind of advantage when facing the great wizards. And the great wizards are tough. Well, at least some of them are. The black wizard was actually pretty hard. The red wizard should have been hard, but it turns out using conversion ruins anything she could possibly do to you. And once you defeat all 5 great wizards, you win the game. Or do you? There is one final showdown against Azarkin himself. Every point of damage you deal to him will seal him away for another 10 years. Take your best deck, and good luck! This is the final battle, and sweet Jesus, he has 300 life! And a 150 card deck containing the best cards from every color. I've faced him numerous times in my life, and I've never been able to kill him. But that changes now! Okay, it didn't go great. I did get him down to 212, which is pretty good. You have protected the plane of Chandela for the next 912 years. The people rejoice! And as soon as I beat it, I wanted to go back and play it again right away, starting with a different deck color and trying different strategies. I love it that much. I wish there was more. The game did get 2 expansion packs, adding in cards from the Arabian Nights, Antiquities, Legends, and the Dark expansion sets. The game is simple, and it's great fun. That's why my final rating for this game is a Prodigal Sorcerer out of 10. It doesn't look like much, but it's really good. Just playing Magic on a PC is a lot of fun, but the introduction of RPG elements makes this game something worthwhile. They already had a great game in its core, thanks to the card game, but it's everything they built around it that makes it fantastic. They went beyond just recreating the card game, something that I wish the current Magic video game developers would understand. And this game is different every time you play, as the world map and dungeon layouts are randomly generated every time, giving it ridiculous replayability. It's over 15 years old, but much like the card game that's still going strong, it's awesome to this day. I really recommend any Magic the Gathering player to give this game a look, to see what is possible with Magic video games. There is so much untapped potential here, especially since the card game is focusing so much on planeswalkers now. Playing this game reignited my love for the card game, and I have no regrets. Oh. You want a hit? Hey, thanks for watching. Be sure to follow me on Twitter and Facebook, and to subscribe to me on YouTube or equip the channel on normalboots.com. And if you're in the mood to watch something else, check out this King's Knight video. Or if you're in the mood for some more Magic, be sure to go to my gameplay channel to watch some actual matches of Magic the Gathering. Or if you don't like Magic, there's other gameplay stuff too. Please subscribe.